How you doing? This is Sean McVeigh, Sean's Outdoor Adventures. In this video, I'm going to compare and contrast the Bear Legit versus the Bear Cruzer G2. That's the Bear Legit versus the Bear Cruzer G2. I've got each one sitting on the table here in front of me. I'm going to take this tape measure. I'm going to make some measurements to see some differences. I'm also going to compare the accessories, things like that. So as we look at the bows here, this one closest to me is the Bear Cruzer G2. This one here is the Bear Legit. And I want to point out that the accessories are basically all the same. The stabilizer is the same, the wrist sling, the sight, and I'll give you a close-up of that in a minute. The whisker biscuit's the same. The quiver is the same. The peep sight is very much similar. There's just very slight modifications that really aren't going to make much, if any, difference. So where we're going to see differences mainly is in the riser here and the cams. So this is the Bear Cruzer G2. This is the Bear Legit. I want to start by looking at the riser because that's one of the most obvious differences here. Here is the riser for the Bear Cruzer G2. If we take a measurement from the tip of the riser to the tip of the riser, we have a measurement of 20.5 inches. So if we take a measurement from the tip of the riser to the tip of the riser on the Bear Legit, we have 25 inches. So it goes from 20.5 up to 25. So your riser is longer. Now check this out. The axle to axle length. So you're going from the center of the axle on one end to the center of the axle on the other. We're right at 30 inches on the Bear Cruzer G2. For the Bear Legit, we are right at 30 inches. So our axle to axle length for each bow is the same, yet our riser is much longer on the Bear Legit. So what does that do? That makes your limbs more parallel. In general, that can help reduce the jumpiness of the bow. Here, your limbs are a little bit more facing away, so when the bow goes off, it kind of wants to carry the bow forward a little bit in general. And here, it's going away from the hand, so it's not going to cause the bow to jump out of your hand as easily. So in theory, the Bear Legit would have a little more of a dead in the hand feel, like, you know, that good old dead in the hand feel we always hear about. Another big difference is the cam is much larger on the Bear Legit than the Bear Cruzer G2. Let me just take a couple measurements to show you. So the height of the Bear Cruzer G2 cam is about 5 inches from this end to this end. We're looking at about 5 inches. So from the longest point to the longest point here, we are roughly at 6 inches. So we're about an inch longer in length for the Bear Legit. And the width, this is about 4 inches on the dot. And the width of the Bear Legit is 4.5. So you have a larger cam, and that would be one significant difference. Obviously, because the limbs on the Bear Legit are more parallel, they don't need to be as long. So the limbs are preloaded here, so they're bent. So we're just going to get a rough idea. Actually, I can try to bend it a little bit. We're at about a 12-inch length on that limb. And for the Bear Cruzer G2, we're a little over 13 inches. So the limbs are longer on the Bear Cruzer G2, and the riser is shorter. Now, another difference we see here is the grip of the Bear Cruzer G2 is much smaller, maybe intended for a smaller hand. The Bear Legit, it's a larger grip, it's wider, and so you do see some differences there. Also want to point out some differences in the design of the riser in general. You have this distance here is wider to help create more rigidity. So being that they have a longer riser, they need to do different things to stiffen it up, adding more in here. See, we just have more like a cross section in here for the Bear Cruzer G2. Here we have more crossbars again, and it's wider that way throughout this section. Again, let's try to provide some rigidity to it. Also, the thickness of the riser here is a lot thicker on the Bear Legit. Actually, let me just take a measurement for reference. So the riser is about an inch wide right here on the Bear Legit. On the Bear Cruzer G2, it's very thin in here and it gets a little bit wider, but whereas the Bear Legit is an inch wide here, we are barely, not even a half inch there, and then when it widens out, you get to about, let's see, looking at that upside down, it's probably about 5/8 in where it thickens up. So you have a more developed riser on the Bear Legit to be able to handle the longer riser length. Both bows have the same 4-pin sight, the same whisker biscuit, and the same quiver. Let me flip the Bear Legit over here. So these quivers, there's a little locking mechanism here. Let's see them. There it is. And then it pops out. Lock it back in. One last thing I will note, the difference in this is the Bear Cruzer G2. It has one of these little black things installed that help with the speed and dampening the noise of the bow. So the Bear Cruzer G2 has one of those. The Bear Legit has two on either end, as we can see. The strings are the same. The suppressor down here is the same. Again, the peep sight is just slightly different right in here. Okay, now that I've gone over that, let me grab my laptop and we'll just quick look at some of the data. I tested both bows. We'll look at the speed just at the longer distances and just kind of get an idea of what's the difference in the speed of the Bear Cruzer G2 versus the Bear Legit. All right, so I'm looking at the data here, and when I tested the Bear Cruzer G2 well over a year ago, I just used a 350 grain arrow for every draw length throughout the testing and draw weight. So with the Bear Legit, I tried to drop the arrow weight as the draw weight decreased, because as you go down and draw length, with the way these modules are designed, the draw weight also goes down no matter what. So it's going to drop. So I dropped the arrow weight with the Bear Legit so the data doesn't compare exactly. So let's just take the two longest draw lengths. Now this Bear Legit out of the box was only measuring 67-pound draw weight, whereas the Bear Cruzer G2 was 70.6. So we were getting a few pounds more with the Bear Cruzer G2. That's going to make it faster in that regard. But with the difference, even though the peak weight was a little different, the Bear Legit speed was 304 feet per second after 3 shots. The Bear Cruzer G2 was 309 feet per second. So we do see a 5 foot per second difference here in these two bows. But I think if we had the same draw weight, so there is a tolerance on the bows. When the bows come out of the factory, see the limb bolts are all the way tightened in, but I was getting just about 67 pounds peak weight. With just a little bit of twist to the cables or take a little twist out of the string, those types of things will increase the draw weight and you'll be able to hit that 70 pounds. So I would say if we were tweaking it to get them the exact same draw weight, we would see pretty much about the same speed coming out of both bows. Now when I dropped it down a full inch in draw length to 29-inch draw length, I got 299 feet per second with the Bear Cruzer G2. And I got 290 feet per second. So you got a 9 foot per second difference there. So you see a little bit of a bigger drop in speed. Ultimately, what this is showing us is that at least at these peak weights, the Bear Cruzer G2 was actually shooting a little bit faster on the test results, but I think these bows would be pretty comparable if they were the exact same draw weight. So what you're seeing here with the Bear Legit is a little bit of a longer riser, a little more beefed up riser, a bigger cam, but it's really kind of delivering about the same performance overall. What you'll be gaining is probably a bow that has less vibration feel in the hand. That would probably be the big thing out of the two. So overall performance, as far as speed goes, you're looking at about the same for both the Bear Cruzer G2 and the Bear Legit. The Bear Legit, being that there's more riser, is going to probably be a little bit of a heavier bow, but let's verify that. I'll go grab the scale and I'll measure both with all the accessories and we'll see what the weight difference is. Okay, I've got a scale here. Let's measure the Bear Legit first. With the accessories is 5.29 pounds for the Bear Legit. So let's reset that. And the Bear Cruzer G2 with the accessories is 4.56. So I was right. Basically what you're seeing is you're gaining overall bow weight in order to get the longer riser and the beefed up riser. This probably is going to give you a little less vibration in the shot process. So as we look at both bows, I mean the Bear Legit on this side, it's a little bit more of an adult looking bow. Like the Bear Cruzer G2 looks a little bit more like a kiddie bow in a sense, but they have the same axle to axle draw or axle to axle length. They have about the same speed. It's just going to be those slight differences that I talked about. As I look at the limbs straight on, the limb of the Bear Legit is a little bit thicker, wide. So it probably you would think might help to endure a little bit more of strain. But as I look at the side profile view, the limb of the Bear Cruzer G2 is a little thicker in the vertical dimension in that zone. So, you're probably going to have a very similar acting limb, although this one is an inch shorter, the limb. So there you go. That's the basic difference between the Bear Cruzer G2 and the Bear Legit. I hope this video helps. I hope it helps people who are trying to make a decision on which one they might want to buy. If you're an adult, this one's going to be a little more beefed up and heavier. This one I bought for my son, so I'm glad it's a little bit lighter. And when you have a little kid trying to shoot a bow, that arm gets tired out pretty easily the heavier this bow is. So this one would be more in line for maybe what a kid would use. And the Bear Legit, you could more legitimately use for an adult and feel like you're shooting an adult bow. Hey, make sure you visit the giveaways page of my website. I'm going to be giving away some stuff this fall. I'm going to be giving away a Sanlita Miracle X10 Olympic style recurve bow. I've got the Ultimate Deer Cart by Gray Fox and some other stuff in the works. So make sure you check out the giveaways page. I'll put a link for that in the description section. Also, if you want to see the very extensive review I did on the Bear Legit, I will provide that in the description section, and the very extensive review I did on the Bear Cruzer G2. I will have links for those for you in the description. Until next time, take care and God bless.